Hello, my name is Edwin Garcia, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we'll be talking about COVID-19 financial relief for musicians. So let's get right into it. As many of you know, at the time of this recording, which is April 7th, I believe, right? 7th, probably will air on the 8th. COVID-19 has impacted all lives all around the world, but particularly here in America. We are, the vast majority of our states are at a stay-at-home order, so work is non-existent. The only jobs that are still working or still operating are jobs that are considered essential, like in the healthcare business and in some food servicing industries, pharmaceutical stores, things of that nature, and places where people are allowed to work from home. They are working from home, but again, those are very limited, and that means that for professional musicians, pretty much all income has been erased. There are no performances, there are no gigs. Many future gigs have already been canceled for months and months from now. Summer festivals and etc. have already been canceled. It's been, very damaging to the music industry as a whole. So that means that we need to find ways to continue on and to finance ourselves, and for us to figure out where we're going to get that money, that helping, that funding. So this whole video is just about that. And I'm in America. I'm in Illinois, to be exact. So it's a lot of this information will help everyone, but some of it might be, a little specific to your area or region, or if you're overseas, obviously, many of these things won't directly apply. But First Organization, I believe, does reach out to the entire globe, and anyone can really apply as long as they were impacted by COVID-19. But again, some of these ideas will be very helpful just in general, and some of them you'll be able to take these ideas and be inspired by your local community, your local, area and region of the world, and see what applies and what will be helpful. So if you're in America, this video is extremely helpful, and if you're from outside America, it's still very helpful, but maybe not as helpful, since I don't understand, all the regions and all the organizations on the planet, right? So keep that in mind, and hopefully a lot of this applies to you, and if not, hopefully it inspires you to find the places where it does apply. All right, let's get into it. First organization I want to shout out is Music Cares. Now, Music Cares is a nonprofit organization that was founded by the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences. What Music Cares is doing is they're providing a relief fund. They're providing essentially a grant so musicians can continue on and still make a living and still survive during this time. All you have to do is go on their website, which is actually on Grammy.com. I think right now it's the homepage, Music Cares, and fill out the application. The application is pretty straightforward. You need just your general information and proof that you've actually been impacted financially from COVID-19. For example, documentation of lost gigs or canceled gigs, things that you already had signed up that are now no longer available because we are not allowed to gather in a public way. So having proof of that, and then I think they want a brief bio or some discography, just some information that shows you're a musician. Fill out the application, and they're accepting applications and providing grants as we speak. So I think that one's really phenomenal, very helpful, and pretty much I think it's global, it's worldwide. So if you're a musician who's been impacted by COVID-19, Music Cares is a great organization to take a look at. I definitely recommend applying for assistance if you need it. Now, this one's not a grant, it's more just FYI, PSA, if you will, but make sure you're applying for unemployment. A lot of musicians have side jobs or other jobs, whether they worked at restaurants or bartend on the weekends, or worked with a couple days in a certain school or what have you, a store, maybe you worked at a music store for a little bit. A lot of musicians have different jobs, and if those jobs no longer exist because of the situation, make sure you're applying for unemployment. It's very important. A lot of people are applying for unemployment, so obviously it might be a little tough to finish your application and get through and all that, but again, in America, you just got to go on your state.gov, and it should be pretty easy to find where the links are. It's pretty much on the homepage. If you have COVID-19 has impacted your job, you apply and you submit your information, and hopefully you get approved, and they'll let you know what you can expect to be receiving. Another thing, again, just specific to America, is we are getting a stimulus package. At the time of this recording, that's already been approved, and it's passed through everything it needs to pass through to be enacted. We should be getting the money in about 2 weeks or so. It's $1,200 if you're making less than I believe $79,000, and then there's tiers after that. So keep that in mind. Hopefully that money can help you pay some bills. I know that's pretty much not going to help most people pay everything or completely erase the worry, but it's a good thing to keep in mind. If you're in America, as long as you filed your taxes in 2018 and 2019, you will be getting money. There is virtually nothing else you have to do. But I implore you, just look into it a little bit in case you didn't apply, what you need to do to make sure you're getting the relief that you need, getting part of the stimulus package that you should be getting based on your tax bracket. So important to look up that information and just keep that in your mind, that money is eventually coming. As a freelancer, I tend to make sure that I'm not counting on money that I can't count on. In other words, if you don't know the company, business, the restaurant, and how quickly you're going to get the check, you should be careful on assuming it shows up on time. A lot of things come late. You will get paid, but it comes late, or you have to follow up in emails, etc., etc. And this kind of falls in line with that. I can't promise you the day you're going to get it. Even the government can't promise. They're saying things like, we hope to, or we expect to by, which lets you know that it may be then. It also may be 2 or 3 weeks after that. I'm assuming in 6 weeks maximum, everyone should pretty much have it, taken care of. But they're trying to get it done quickly for the obvious reasons. It's urgent, but it's hard to tell. But just know in the next 2 to 6 weeks, that money should be in your bank account and available to you if you've applied for your taxes in 2018, filed your taxes in 2018, 2019. You should be getting that money, and hopefully you're getting the max, and that can help alleviate some of the concern we have by lack of income by getting some income. So keep that in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is if your band is registered as an LLC, you can apply for some low interest federal loans. They're allowing businesses to apply for loans with pretty good interest rates due to COVID-19. So if you're a small business, like if your band is an S Corp or an LLC and you're an employee of it, if your project has people on salary, the bill provides federal guaranteed loans available at a community bank to small businesses that pledge not to lay off workers. So that's really important, and it's hopefully will be helping people who do have an LLC. They can get that money and continue operating, or at least keeping themselves sustained in the meantime. The goal is to keep employees connected to their employers so that people aren't just having to stay at home and aren't just feeling the stress of being laid off, but the uncertainty of whether they'll even have a job to go back to. So again, if you've already done that work and have registered as an LLC, take a look at that. That might be something you can do to at least alleviate the stress of the money for now. Again, not everyone has an LLC, but a lot of people do, and a lot of musicians do, and artists do. So keep that in mind. This one's good just worldwide. Consult your union or local music orgs. Those organizations, if you're part of a union, if you are unionized, if you're part of some organizations where you pay duties and fees, they might have relief funds available. They might have some kind of charity that they're setting up for the musicians in the community that are really impacted by it. So that's something to think about. Now, if you're not part of a music union or anything like that, you might still be part of orgs you're not thinking about. Maybe you need to zag a little bit. You think you're not associated with anything. For example, maybe you graduated and your alumni network has something for alumni that are impacted. Maybe you're still a college student and the alumni org itself is offering money to students in the major who are getting impacted. Just think outside the box if you're not directly associated with a union or a community organization. There might be some ways where you are that you're not thinking about quite yet that can help you or do have are services that are being provided, financial and otherwise, to help. So just think about the things you need and what services that provide them, and if they're providing relief for musicians. You'll be surprised. There's a lot of people doing great work right now. That's very heartwarming right now, where people are trying to partner together and try to find a way to help each other out through this trying time. And you might be part of one of those organizations or closely related to them in ways that you didn't think about before. Okay, and finally, as my last main point, kind of the miscellaneous ones, is we think a lot when we're having financial trouble, we think of money, but it doesn't always have to be money, right? Some financial trouble usually doesn't mean that we just want to have money. It's that we need money for services, for products, for bills. So maybe you can get relief from those products, bills, or attain those services for quote unquote free or as a donation. So for example, if money is very tight right now, contact your local food depository. Maybe you're a person who can get food from those areas, if it's easily accessible to you, look into it, see what you need to do, what you need to, where you need to be, what days, things like that. Soup kitchens, things like that. Maybe they're providing food that they can, put in boxes and send to you, or you can pick up or drop off, things like that. So keep that in mind if food, for example, is an issue you're having, being able to pay for groceries and things of that nature. Credit cards are especially having, grace periods and knocking down the interest. And those are always private companies, so it's a case-by-case basis, and different companies are operating different ways. But most are actually being pretty open to talking to you about deferring payments or negotiating down to a lower minimum payment, things of that nature. You're going to have to call, though. One thing I've noticed is they're not just saying, hey, we're freezing everything. They're operating as business as usual, and you have to make the effort to call and say, hey, I'm suffering financially due to COVID-19, unable to work. Therefore, making this payment is not a possibility. What can I do to still stay in good standing? I'm not trying to just not pay. I need help. And they might do something like have emergency, payment freezes and things like that, where they'll stop payments for 2 or 3 months. Maybe they'll knock down your minimum payment. Maybe they'll knock down the interest on any payments that you make. Things like that to keep you in good standing. Think about those things if those bills apply to you, if you have credit card payments that need to be made. So I'll put a link below to MusicCares for those who want to apply for COVID-19 relief fund from MusicCares. I think that's a great organization to use. And again, the other things are state and federal, so it just depends on where you live and which websites you need to go to for that. Obviously, you know where you live, so you can go ahead and take a look at that and make sure that you got that taken care of. And if anyone has any other good programs that they know about, please make sure you leave a comment below with those programs and links to those programs. Again, we're all trying to pull together. We're all trying to help each other out. Hopefully, this video has helped some of you think of creative ways to get financial benefits, to get some financial help at this time. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'll make another video in 2 weeks where I will talk about ways to support musicians if you're just a fan, or if you have the means at this point to help and you want to help those people that are struggling. So keep your head up, keep a smile on your face. I look forward to hearing from all of you next time, and until then, later.